The London Route, Part 3. After several weeks of countless online job applications, Chenai finally got part-time cleaning work. The cleaning job was flexible, and it enabled her to work on days when she did not have lectures. The job would provide her with a stable income that would cover her living expenses and savings toward university tuition. In Zimbabwe, cleaners are looked down upon, Chenai said. But here in the UK, the integrity of the work one does is valued, regardless of the type of work it is. The cleaning company that had employed Chenai provided cleaning services to a regiment of soldiers and guards of the British Army, which is known as the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment. It was tasked with carrying out mounted and dismounted duties on the UK's royal, state, and public occasions. Chenai had witnessed the Household Cavalry Mounted Regiment in action on several occasions during state occasions held in central London, and she was excited that she would be working at their barracks. On the first day of work, she arrived at the barracks 30 minutes early. She was excited but also nervous about how her first day of work would go. She held up her gate pass for the guard to see. After verifying her identity, the guard opened the remote-controlled gate, and she walked inside the barracks. She headed straight to the cleaning manager's office, and he welcomed her and gave her a brief run-through of the cleaning company, and gave her information about her role and the barracks. Following this, he took her to the cleaning supervisor, a young woman named Marianne. Marianne began by introducing Chenai to her co-workers, and then she gave her a tour of the barracks. Following this, Marianne took Chenai to her workstation, which included the senior officer's apartment building, which had 5 apartments, a common kitchen and dining room, a bar, and a lounge area, as well as administrative offices. Next, Marianne showed Chenai the changing room where she swapped her clothes for the cleaner's uniform. Then, Marianne led her to the cleaner's cupboard, a large room where the cleaning chemicals and equipment were kept. Chenai worked diligently, and at 1:30 the lunch bell rang, and she made her way to the dining room. As she and the other cleaners filed into the dining room, junior and senior officers and guards were leaving the dining room and making way for the cleaners. One group of cleaners sat in a corner of the dining room and the other group of cleaners sat in another corner. Chenai wondered which group to join, and then she decided to sit alone. Moments later, a young man walked up to her table and introduced himself as Michael. He invited her to join him and his colleagues at their table, and she obliged. Michael's colleagues welcomed her and asked her how she was finding her first day of work, and she responded that it was good so far. Michael then asked her which country she came from, and after she told him that she was a Zimbabwean, he told her that he'd thought she was from the Caribbean or the West Indies. During the rest of the lunch break, Michael, who was very friendly and talkative, told Chenai that he'd migrated to London 5 years before. He explained to her that when he was still in his home country, he'd been caught in the crossfire of a fatal shootout between 2 rival and notorious gangs in a downtown area of the capital city of his home country. 10 people had lost their lives, and he'd been among the 5 survivors. He'd had 2 surgeries and fought for his life in the hospital for 4 months. It was when he recovered that he got assistance from a humanitarian organization to migrate to London, where he would have better medical care. After the lunch break, Michael walked Chenai to her work area. He warned Chenai to be wary of a guy named HK. "Is HK the guy who kept staring at me during lunch?" Chenai asked, and Michael confirmed that it was indeed HK, who had not been able to keep his eyes off her. Chenai asked Michael why she should be wary of HK. Michael replied, "HK loves to flirt with women and play with their emotions. Every woman who falls under his spell and dates him ends up in tears." 3 o'clock declared the end of Chenai's working day, and she changed back into her comfortable clothes and left the barracks to the underground train station. During the ensuing days, Chenai settled into her new job smoothly, and 2 weeks later she received her first salary, and she was excited. After paying her financial contribution towards rent, gas, water, Wi-Fi, and groceries, as well as buying her weekly bus and tube transport pass, and setting aside money to go towards savings for her student tuition, she decided to take Chenai out for dinner, to thank her friend for the hospitality she'd given her since her arrival in London. A few weeks later, Chenai was loading her cleaning chemicals and equipment into a trolley, when HK walked into the cleaner's cupboard and shut the door and locked it. She was alarmed and asked him to unlock the door, but he did not budge. "Why have you locked us in the cleaner's cupboard?" she demanded and told him firmly. "It's very creepy and I'm frightened and uncomfortable." "Relax, because I don't mean any harm to you," he told her. "You've avoided every chance that I've tried to talk to you, and I did this to grab your attention. I've been dying to tell you that I fell in love with you, ever since I first laid eyes on you. Chenai decided not to respond to HK but implored him to open the cleaner's cupboard door, and to her relief, he did as she asked. Before she walked out, HK told her, "My father rules over a very large kingdom in Nigeria and I'm an heir to his throne. In a few months, I will be returning to Nigeria so that my father will show me the ropes of being king. But before that, I must convince you to be my queen, so that I may return to Nigeria with you." Chenai did not respond to HK's words but instead ran out of the cleaner's cupboard. She waited for 5 minutes before venturing back to the cleaner's cupboard to collect her cleaning chemicals and equipment, and to her relief, HK had left. She quickly gathered her cleaning chemicals and equipment and rushed out of the cleaner's cupboard. She couldn't find sleep that night and she kept reliving that afternoon's happenings. Chenai told HK many times that she wasn't interested in a romantic relationship with him, but he did not stop the romantic advances. Chenai asked Michael, who had now become her close work, what to do. "The stunt that HK pulled of locking you in the cleaner's cupboard is totally unacceptable," Michael told her. "Since you've told him that his feelings for you are unwelcome, and he keeps persisting, he's now harassing you and you should report him to HR," he advised her. Chenai reported HK to the HR manager who investigated the matter. HK was found guilty of harassment and misconduct, and he was given a written warning, and a repeated offense would warrant his dismissal. End of part 3.